Back in 2011, her and her girls were going to New York City for a girls' weekend. It was supposed to be this fun, easygoing trip, but it turned into the most haunting, terrifying experience of her life, something she still thinks about. They were staying at the Chelsea Hotel, which is notorious for the 1978 brutal unaliving of Nancy Spungen, allegedly by her boyfriend Sid Vicious of the band The Humpty Dumpty Pistols. Not the real band name, you know what I'm talking about. Despite this happening there in the 1970s, this hotel is known for housing notables, and her friend actually booked the room because it's supposed to be a nice hotel. When they check in, the receptionist says, "Oh, you have room 104," but she says it in kind of a sinister way. And Jay has no knowledge about what happened there in the 1970s. She really doesn't know any history there. And she's like, "Why'd you say it like that?" And the receptionist basically nods at the fact that something bad happened in that room. They learn that Nancy's unaliving in 1978 actually happened in room 100, but room 100 doesn't exist anymore, and it's actually been split into two rooms, room 102 and room 104. They said the receptionist didn't tell them why the room was split, but she assumes it was probably because of what happened there. But when they check in, they notice the room is beautiful. It's decorated with deco-style furniture, almost frozen in time. She said when you walked in the room, there was a hallway that led to a kitchenette, a giant living room with beautiful curtains that had false balconies, a fireplace, and then the bedroom and the bathroom. Jay said the first couple days of the trip went amazing. They explored various restaurants and bars, had a good time, nothing out of the ordinary. But on the third night, something terrifying happened to them. They were out with some other friends from New York City, and that friend suggested that everybody goes back to the room to hang out. A few people turned into like 20 or 30, and Josh Hartnett is weirdly there. Said it wasn't really relevant to the story, but it was still bizarre. So everyone's hanging out in the room, having a good time. She said she definitely had a few drinks, but not enough to explain what happened next. All of a sudden, she's hit with this intense feeling of anxiety, of panic, of sheer terror. She doesn't know why she's feeling this way because she's having a good time. She's with people she knows and trusts, and she ends up going in the bathroom. And she's in the bathroom for the next 7 hours. It's around midnight when this panic hits, and she locks herself in the bathroom and she just sits down on the floor underneath the sink. It was like a full-blown panic attack, which she said she has no history of, has never experienced before. She's sitting underneath the sink, and over the next few hours, her friends are coming to the bathroom door, trying to get her out, trying to get in. She said the panic and anxiety was so much that she couldn't even move. They could only hear her crying. She said she was sobbing uncontrollably, shaking uncontrollably. It was like something so dark consumed her that she didn't even have the words or the reason to explain to her friends what was happening to her. It was like this intense darkness just consumed her. She said it was the deepest sadness, anguish, and grief that she's ever experienced or could imagine experiencing. She said all she could do was rock herself and sob, and she truly felt in those hours that she would never feel true happiness again. This goes on for the entire night. Eventually, one friend finally gets the lock to unlatch and comes in and tries to calm her down and realizes that she can't. The friends that she's on this trip with eventually stop trying to calm her down and go back out to continue the party elsewhere. She's in that same spot all night, rocking and crying, until around 6:30 in the morning. Suddenly, it just feels like this weight is lifted and she can move again. She opens the door to the bathroom. Everyone's asleep. She goes out and passes out in one of the rooms. After this whole ordeal, she just felt completely back to normal, like no lingering grief, nothing. And her friends were like, "What happened to you?" And she was like, "I have no idea." She said she just apologized and tried to move on, but for the next few years, she felt troubled by it, even though she just chalked it up to a bad panic attack, until a couple of years ago, she's scrolling and she comes across a post about haunted hotels. She immediately recognized the Chelsea in the thumbnail, clicks on it, and goes down that rabbit hole. What she found shocked her. She learns that the bathroom she was in was the bathroom in room 100 where Nancy was unalived. And then she found a graphic photo of Nancy after she was found, and Nancy was in the exact spot underneath the sink, the exact same spot that she was paralyzed in for almost 7 hours. And Jay said while she still can't explain what happened to her that night, it feels terrifying to know that it's possible that a spirit or entity or ghost took hold of her and dragged her into a mental state of such desperation and despair despite coming out physically unscathed. She said that learning that it might have not been a panic attack, but instead something darker, has actually been very heartbreaking for her. She did say that she's not really friends with those girls anymore. She doesn't know if that night has had anything to do with it, but she suspects so. Another weird thing is that she actually was 20 when this happened, which was the same age that Nancy was when she was unalived. And the two have striking resemblances in the sense that they both wore dark eye makeup, were very pale, had a similar build, and had crazy frizzy blonde hair. She also said that she was in a particularly vulnerable place in her life when this all took place, and she wonders if that made her an easy target for whatever took over her. There are videos which she sent me where you can see this bathroom. I'm not going to post it because it's graphic, but you can find it on your own. And although I just used her initial, I'm still waiting to hear back if she wants to be completely anonymous or not. If she doesn't, I'll tag her. Keep sending me your spooky, scary stories.